got a shout up on Live UG. This is Marque press conference. I think we're doing it for full. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, bye.
Need a thicker pen.
Good to go. Yes, we're rolling.
Well, welcome and thank you for coming. Do you want us to do the presentation?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So we met with the City Council last night over a very serious budget issue that the City of Lamarque is facing that we just found. I've been here 5 weeks, and Worth Ferguson has been here for a week. And he is the finance director. I'm the interim city manager. We laid out a proposal to the council that was essentially a 3-point plan that they adopted, or they said to proceed forward. And I couldn't be more proud of the council for putting the interests of the city ahead of any political considerations. And we're extremely grateful for the statesmanship that we saw last night. And if you would like, I would like to have Mr. Ferguson just review the plan that the council said to move forward with last night.
Okay. As mentioned, the plan is a 3-step process. It is solving our immediate cash need first, then being able to have cash coming in to sustain us on a month-to-month basis through the end of the year, and then to ensure stability for next year and going forward. The plan consists of an increase to the tax rate, which will allow us to then leverage those property taxes that would come in next year for us to take out a short-term loan to bring in the cash to help us get through our current period, at which point those will be repaid next year. In addition, we are pursuing a short-term emergency loan for our expenses related to Beryl that have not been reimbursed by FEMA yet. We are also working with the EDC for the City of Lamarque on funds they have that are available to be used. In addition, we are reviewing all expenditures and grants to ensure that all funds were accurately accounted for and put in the correct funding source. We believe that some of that is also funds that would become available as well. Holistically, this gives us a lot of different options that will allow us to, again, accomplish those three tasks and ensure Lamarque is in a stable position next year and then going forward beyond that.
So are there any questions that you would want us to answer?
When the city says it has only 2 weeks of reserves, what does that mean exactly?
It was $1.2 million. So that's what we have in our basic investment account. And when you look at, we run just under $60,000 a day in the city's operating expenses. And so you take that number and you do the math, and that's what that ended up. Now we do have $500,000 roughly that we receive in sales tax dollars, so that gives us a little bit extra cushion. But this was a very serious situation that we found that we needed to make sure the council was aware of, and fortunately Worth came on board a week ago and was able to hit the ground running and come up with a multi-phased approach that should leave Lamarque stable and in good condition with the lights on.
So can the city remain operational after 2 weeks, or if funds are come, what happens?
That would be another very serious discussion. So no, we cannot. There simply would not be the money to continue operating.
Now, roughly the city's on a budget of $1.5 million a month, but that's not all operations. How much of that is for day-to-day expenses for the city operations?
I'm not sure that I understand what your question is.
How much of the budget is that for day-to-day expenses for the city operations?
So the $60,000 a day is city operations. We're not talking about anything to do with water, sewer, or our solid waste. That comes in separately. So this is for the general government, for police, fire, administration. That's what that costs to run the general government.
So what specifically is being done to address the shortfall?
That's the plan that Worth just laid out.
So the first and most important priority is cash, right? Without cash, no plan succeeds. So we are addressing the ways we receive and get cash. Beyond that, what we are doing is a holistic review of everything that has come in. At the end of the meeting, the mayor did ensure that we look at all of the expenses and revenues for the last 5 years. In addition, we have taken cost-cutting measures to reduce expenses, hiring freeze.
We're in a hiring freeze. Travel and training is stopped.
And then IT purchases have been delayed, and similar actions have been taken in all departments.
Yeah, so anything that's not critical is not being spent right now.
So is there, how long has the city or the office been aware of the situation?
I would say Labor Day.
And is there any reason why it wasn't identified sooner?
I've been here 5 weeks. And so my first priority was getting a budget in place, and Worth has been here a week. I think that would be the best answer.
And you said a few times in your comments to council that things have happened that were often unheard of. What do you mean by that?
I've got 40 years of experience. I've never seen this in a community. I know in hearing that other communities are facing some shortfalls because of decisions that the legislature has made in terms of how much revenue a city can bring in. But normally, if you get to this position, people would have been sounding the alarm a while ago. So it's unusual to have two new, city manager and finance director that come in and find this. That is unique.
So why just hours before the meeting was an alert sent out?
Agatha, I don't know if you can help with that. I think we were letting people know, but I don't know that it was an alert, but we were working with the council to come up with solutions so that we had something that we could present.
Knowing you've been on the job for the past, for just 5 days, can you explain what you found?
We found, in very broad terms, under receipt of revenue from budget, over expenses from budget, right? Those are the two primary drivers of situations like this. And then we've been focused entirely on our cash position, figuring out what that exactly looks like. So reviewing all of our outstanding check register to make sure any check that should be, voided or is old and is no longer valid is cleaned up, right? Again, focus entirely on what is our cash position. Beyond that, as you said, it's been 5 days. I have not been able to dig at a deep enough level to provide any specifics beyond that.
I'll say, Ms. Hawley, you obviously have a lot of experience in city government. You say you haven't seen something like this. Are you able to, maybe give a general, reason as to how this could happen? I mean, I know there's been a lot of turnover in key positions in the city. Do you think that could have played a role, or do you have any type of insight right now?
We really, at this point, our focus is on moving forward. We will get to that question, but right now we're really looking at what do we do to keep the city afloat, and then going backwards will be something that happens in the future.
Because because I know a lot of people, obviously, the first question is who's to blame as a simple,
And
do you think
that's,
that will be
yeah.
determined at some point? Because I know a lot of people will probably start thinking of their own theories, so do you think that information can be provided, not even
Yes.
blame, but like, where did it start, how long
Right.
has it been going on, things like that?
We committed that to the council, and that in the review that we've done, we're seeing no fraud. So anything that would change, that would indicate that, we would be involving law enforcement. We are not seeing that. So we will be looking at the kind of a forensic look at it, but at this point, we just had to recognize where we are, get a plan together that in its totality will move the city forward, and that's what the council said yes to.
Do you think, I know your plan was to be here about 6 months, so that was the initial thought. Do you think those type of answers can be found in that timeline?
I
Or while
would
you're still
think
here?
so. The council initially, when I came on, did a 6-month contract, so that's my time frame.
Did you have any idea what you were walking into, or either of you, when you accepted these positions?
Worth did, I think. We talked with him.
I had a rough idea, but not specifics.
How could the city gone so long and no one realized more was being spent than brought in?
We'll find that out, but right now we found it. It didn't take long to find it, and we've got to move forward. But we will have answers to that in the future.
Do you think council would be open to the idea of a third-party forensic audit of finances in the future?
Fortunately, Mr. Ferguson comes with that in his qualifications, so he will be looking at that because he's got an auditor's perspective, and so he can see that. I don't know that we need a third party now that we have Mr. Ferguson. I think that we have the qualified staff in-house to do what needs to be done to verify what happened.
In addition, given the cash situation, it would be unwise to hire a forensic auditor given the cost associated with that at this time.
Was an increase in property taxes and water and sewer rates still part of the plan?
Yes.
Okay. How soon can residents expect to see that begin to be implemented?
Well, the property tax would come into place starting in October, so they would see that with the bills that get sent out. And then we would have to bring back an ordinance for the water and sewer revenues and look at what would need to make sure that that's going to break even, given particularly what Mr. Ferguson was talking about, that our cost of buying water is going to be going up. And so we don't want the taxpayers having to support our enterprise water, sewer, and solid waste fund. So that's something that we will be looking at and then bringing forward with ordinances.
Does the city charter require a monthly finance report for council?
It does.
Any explanation why? No, never mind. What's going to happen now as far as regular finance reports?
There will be monthly finance reports. They will include from our accounting system, but they will also include cash. They will include check registers. Once we get caught up, they'll include many more documents. In addition, with the new system we are implementing, council will have 24/7 access to these reports as well with live data.
So, August Christine Turner, former finance director of the city, did she resign under pressure in lieu of being terminated, or was she fired?
My understanding, I was not here at that time, my understanding is she resigned and she moved on to better opportunities for herself.
And specifically, what's the tax rate now? If you get 6 cents more, what would it be?
That will yield about $900,000. So the tax rate right now is 0.39. It would be going to 0.45 in very round numbers. So what that does is it gives us the flexibility to get a short-term loan in advance of our tax revenues coming in. So it does not, we need more than that to keep going. until January, but it gives us the ability to get loans.
And would it be subject to a rollback election?
Not that I understand, we're below that rate.
Do you know what that rate is specifically?
It would be above 0.45, above the voter approval rate.
And just to clarify from last night, so the council said yes, move forward with this plan, but they'll still have to come back and vote on the
Yes.
proposed tax rate and the budget as well?
Yes, yes.
They were proposed last night. They will be published as is required by state law in the paper, as well as posted out in front of council chambers and our website. And then later this month, there will be 2 separate public hearings for the public to come and discuss the proposed rate. At the end of those hearings, the council will then vote on a final adoption of the rate. And we do, for everybody who's confused by taxes, it translates to roughly $30 for every $50,000 of home value for the year.
For the increase?
Yes,
And that's an annual increase.
annual, yeah,
Yeah.
annual amount.
You said 50,000?
Yeah, $30 per 50,000 is a rough.
Are you aware of any personnel shortages in any departments, like maybe collections, that would cause a delay or an insufficiency in getting the money into the city?
So tax funds are collected by the county and sent to us, so that's not an area we would have an impact in.
Municipal courts?
No, in fact, our municipal court clerk has really turned the court system around, and there is much more revenue coming in under our current court clerk than there was in the past, so there is not a deficiency at all there.
Can you speak to how the tax rollback in 2021 might have played a role in this, or even just in revenue coming in?
I can't, because we weren't here, we don't know what that impact was.
Do you think once you guys look harder at the numbers, like, can that be something to be determined of? Could you compare, like, if we had this tax rate, what would have happened? Or do you think that general trend of taking in or spending more than you were taking in would have already kind of still been continuing?
Well, I know that the mayor's political philosophy is he has been reducing the tax rate every year. So this is an anomaly. The city has been living within a lower tax rate every single year. So this is something that we can find out in the future what happened, but to go back to a tax rollback in 21 is just, it's really not what our focus is.
And,
It's also unlikely a single cause that led to it.
It's not going to be that simple.
A large collection of things.
And I know earlier in the kind of budget process when you guys were doing the workshops, you had mentioned that you had to like go back and kind of re-propose the budget because it was initially proposed with a higher tax rate. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Come into play at all, or is that when you started to think something could be wrong, or did that?
No, because budgeting and finance are 2 separate things. So budgeting is on paper, what do you anticipate getting? And so what my job was when I first got here is ensure that we have a budget that is balanced and is balanced to the tax rate that the city council had said that they wanted to see, which was the same as last year, 0.39. So we have a balanced budget to that number when October starts. Then after we got done with that, we started looking at, well, where's the real cash? So it's one thing, you look at it on paper, and then how is it really related to the bank account? And it turned out that the money in the bank was not what we were expecting to see. So that's when we had to go back and say, all hands on deck, we need to have a plan going forward. And that's what Mr. Ferguson has been extremely helpful in pulling that together. And then again, the council did their action last night, and I'm just extremely grateful.
Have you heard much from residents yet? Have you reached out?
What I'm hearing so far are people who are calling in that want to help, that are offering to volunteer, that are, it's their community, they want to help. So that's the overwhelming majority of what we're hearing right now.
Every window had a person at it trying to pay a bill owed to the city. And
Oh,
I saw it
man.
firsthand up front. I don't know
It's
if
just-
that's typical or not.
No, and Lamarck is such a, you live here, I'm an outsider. And from the outside looking in, this is an amazing community. So, I mean, there's a lot to protect, defend in Lamarck.
I know we got people speaking to city council that were frustrated, disappointed, and but what do you think having said that, the outlook for the city, do you think from residents in general, how positive, how confident do you feel in being able to turn this around and get things going in the right direction?
Very confident. Very confident. The plan that Ms. Ferguson primarily and then me secondarily put together is a sound way to move forward, and it does provide the financial wherewithal for us to keep going without being wild about it. We do have a budget that is balanced at a 39-cent tax rate, and what that 6-cent tax increase does is allow us to get through a short-term cash flow.
So the budget will still be, because I know, granted, this would be taking the budget from when it was 6 cents higher, and people had to make cuts from that, so it's still kind of reduced budget with the higher tax rate. So.
Correct. So any additional monies will be used to fund the short-term measures that we need to pay back any of the debt that we need to pay back based on those loans. We are not expanding the budget to accommodate that new tax rate.
Just out of curiosity, are you aware of any, I guess maybe upcoming corporate expenditures? Like, are any companies moving here? Any companies building here? Is there anything on the horizon that may help generate more revenue in the future that's already in place?
Yes, but I'm not sure that I can speak about it. But yes, there are. I am aware of developments that are coming in that will be very positive for the city. I just don't know if they're public yet.
And I assume, I think it was said last night in the meeting that the police station bond that whole project is probably on hold indefinitely, or?
Until we're more stable. Yes.
Does that mean, so that means they were obviously going to get the tax note, so none of that architectural design or anything will start at all, or they won't have anything kind of prepared by that January date they were hoping?
So Luong, the architect that's working on that, has already done quite a bit of work, but we've asked them to stop at this point because we can't afford additional expenditures until our finances stabilize.
We also, staff has done a great job working through this situation that kind of got thrust on them. And one of the other things that was noted at the council meeting is that there isn't a reduction in staff as part of the plan. So staffing is going to remain as it currently is.
We do have hiring freezes, but we're not looking at cutting staff.
How many positions were you hiring for before the freeze?
We had, I think, probably 9 on the non-sworn side that we froze, and there are now 6 in public safety that are frozen.
Were there any department leaders or higher up positions that you're trying to hire?
Library director, that's one of the ones that we're waiting on.
How long do you think it could take to stabilize?
Our goal is for next year, once all the property tax revenue comes in, for that to provide the basis for a stable city going forward. And that's why we're staying with the lower budget. We're continuing the trimming that we've done to help ensure that stability. once we can feel comfortable with that we're at a stable level, then we'll look and work with council to what comes next. But getting stable, getting to where there is not a crisis, or we're not having to look, every day to make sure we're okay. That's the primary driver and goal.
And I know you guys aren't elected officials and you literally just got here,
Yeah.
but what would you say to residents who might be feeling like, I don't know, they're like, who can we trust? They're hurt by this situation. You obviously work with elected officials, so I guess what would you say to residents who are feeling either lost or concerned or just like they can't trust what's happening?
I would say just give it a little bit of time and let us demonstrate our trustworthiness. That there is a reason that people are frightened. We understand that. But we do want to move forward with something that is sound, that is fiscally conservative, that will put the city on a better financial footing, and then put those protections in place that hopefully this won't happen again. The council has asked for a financial committee that would be comprised of city council members, the EDC, citizens, that can help guide the community forward in financial decisions, and the finance director and city manager will be part of that, so that it's just a more open process. Because some of the things, I believe you mentioned it, sir, these are things that were in the charter. These were things that should have been happening, and making sure that our elected officials, who uniquely in Lamarque have zero administrative oversight by charter, that they are then aware of what they should be getting and that they know that they can demand it.
We also hope that, last night's presentation, we bared it all. We didn't, hide anything. We let everybody see. We hope that shows the community and the citizens what our goal is and what our style is letting everybody know what's going on, and ensuring that the best decisions for the community are made, but that they are aware of them and understand why those decisions are made.
Before we wrap, can each of you spell your name and what your title is?
I'm Barbara Holley, Barbara, Holly, Holly. I am the interim city manager.
I am Worth Ferguson, WORTH FERGUSON, and I am the finance director.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank